Versatile Mage. Chapter 674. Losing Hope, Skeleton Pack. I thought we're dead for sure. Who knew your friend is so strong? He basically killed over 1,000 undead on his own. Su Xiaoluo exclaimed, her eyes gleaming. Normally, even the strongest intermediate magicians could only kill between 200 to 300 undead. A magician like Mo Fan could easily face the advanced magicians who had only leveled up recently. Of course, you forgot whose big brother he is. Zhang Xiaohe rubbed his nose with his thumb, feeling quite proud. Su Xiaoluo rolled her eyes and said, considering it's now the second half of the night, we should quickly find the exit and get out of here. It will be too late for us to reach the altar after the Dark Abyss's next shift. Let's hurry. Don't tell me that thing is here again. Zhang Xiaohe had just shown a relieved smile before it froze as he glanced at the sky ahead. Mo Fan had just started trying to catch his breath when he discovered the energy ripples in the sky, the kind that gave him a headache. The ripples were produced by another silver vortex appearing in the sky above them. The silver vortex was stronger than the one before. The ripples it produced were detectable more than a few kilometers away. Another one. Mo Fan raised his head and stared at the silver vortex, which was even larger than the previous one. As they watched, black dots gradually appeared from the vortex, which looked like a silver compass. The black dots fell from the sky. It was no longer a drizzle. In just a few moments, the black dots had covered a huge area on the rocky land. Packs of undead were falling into the space of death, each pack consisting of a few hundred undead. Mo Fan thought the silver vortex would disappear after teleporting around 2,000 undead into the space, yet it was still spinning, spitting out more undead from the turbulent flow of space. Mo Fan and his crew had no idea where the undead came from, but the authorities guarding the inner city were well aware of the source. The undead were pulled into the vortex from the middle of the ocean of undead outside the city. The silver vortex had appeared out of nowhere. The first one only had a diameter of a few hundred meters and drew in around 2,000 undead from outside the city. However, its scale was far scarier this time. The silver vortex's diameter was almost a kilometer. A vortex of this scale would rarely appear in the ocean, let alone on land, and somewhere close to a city. The silver vortex was a turbulent flow of space. It was impossible for the creatures drawn into it to escape. The turbulent flow of space would teleport them to some other dimension. Obviously, the other end of the silver vortex was the space of death Mo Fan and his crew were in. Could this be a blessing from God, summoning these silver vortexes to help us eliminate the army of undead? Half of the skeleton army that was intercepting the Imperial Magician's retreat is gone, said a commander on the walls happily. The ocean of undead was magnificent, yet it was not boundless. The first silver vortex had taken around 2,000 undead away, while the second time was even more shocking. It had taken away at least 8,000 skeletons in just a few minutes. If these silver vortexes appeared a few more times, it would significantly reduce the number of undead close to the barrier. It might even change the fate of the city. My God! Exclaimed Zhao Feng and Yao Nan at the same time. They were at the observation post above the clock tower. They clearly saw the skeletons being drawn into the silver vortex. The two elite advanced magicians were completely stunned by the astonishing sight. It only lasted a short moment, but it had already devoured a whole pack of skeletons. After collecting their thoughts, they quickly made their way into the clock tower. They were still hoping that it was just a coincidence, hoping that not all the skeletons were brought into the space. However, they immediately realized the truth when they saw the grim expressions on everyone's faces. They looked at the wicked eye copper mirror and saw its whole area of sight covered by white skeletons. Even from this height, the whole place within a few dozen square meters was fully occupied by the skeletons. They were so densely packed together that the two advanced magicians felt a chill running down their spines. There were just too many of them. It turned out that a whole pack of skeletons was drawn in by the vortex, an army of almost 10,000. The silver vortex simply destroyed their hope. Even the slightest hope they had was crushed. There were only 4 of those kids, only 4. They had to face an entire pack of almost 10,000 skeletons. When the skeletons spread across the land, they simply looked like a white carpet from a certain height. The area they covered had no visible end at first glance. Their roars almost shattered the magicians' hearts into pieces. The space of death. It turned out that this was the true definition of the place's name. It was designed to give intruders a cruel test that they had no chance of passing even if they were a few times, or even 10 times stronger. Death was the only way out. I told you, everything is only the beginning. The ancient king won't spare the lives of the people in the space of death so easily. He doesn't allow the weak to arrive at his altar either, said Xe Sang slowly. It's not even about being weak or strong. That's a skeleton army the scale of a horde. Even the advanced magicians, imperial magicians, and the older magicians among us have no chance of wiping them out, let alone a few young magicians. I don't want to say this, but we have to admit it, they are surely going to die. Commander Lu Zu's voice was trembling. They thought the first silver vortex would bring an end to the space of death. After all, killing 2,000 skeletons was already over their limit. The second silver vortex simply gave them no chance of surviving. We can now put the wicked eye copper mirror away. Time to prepare for our final retreat. Hanji turned around and went up the stairs to the observation post. He was completely worn out, both physically and mentally. This was the outcome, even though they had struggled at the edge between hope and despair. He felt an urge to shed tears for the sake of the innocent people, yet his eyes were completely dry. It was the Black Vatican's great victory, considering the situation they were in. His only hope was to hold the last line of defense, to protect the inner city of the 1,000-year-old ancient capital, but even his final hope was crushed. President, called the mysterious man. Everyone was feeling extremely unpleasant when they saw Hanji's decrepit back. Everyone was concerned about the city's fate, yet none of them cared about the city more than Hanji did. With Hanji's strength, he had a chance to escape from the surrounding undead, but the old magician was willing to live and die together with the city. Chapter end. Please guys like, comment, share, and subscribe.